Hello, welcome back to the channel. Tonight we'll be covering NXT Great American Bash, NXT and AEW Rampage. Stay tuned, it's going to be a good one. Hello and welcome back to the HCW channel. My name is Dan, DP, or D to the pre-Z. Yeah. But no, if you're tuning for this, this is essentially something different, something that we did a while back on the channel, but it just didn't have legs, and due to commitments and stuff, we just couldn't do it. But now I am bringing it back with myself, basically. But it's going to be a weekly review of the shows that the other guys don't cover. But obviously, if you're familiar with the HCW show, we do Collision, we do Dynamite, we do SmackDown, and we do Raw. This covers basically the other shows that are done, but not by them lot. So, like, how do I word it? Sorry. Like, that's the secondary shows. So, you have, NXT, and you have Rampage, and that's about it, really. And I'll cover any, like, special events as well, like NXT Great American Bash, for example, which will be covered in this episode. But, yeah, it'll be more or less the exact same format as what you see Ray and Froz do, but just on the other shows that they don't cover. But yeah, so initially we were called the B Show. Not a great name, to be honest. But as you see beneath, uh, we've gone with HCW Show Squared. But before we get going with this, please, if you're enjoying what you're seeing and you like the content that we create, then please give us a follow on any of the platforms above. We do stream on Twitch. There we go, over there, Twitch. So follow us on Twitch. We have Instagram, we have Threads, Twitter, and we also have Facebook. And also, if you like what I'm doing and like seeing my face, hearing my voice, whatever, uh, my individual Twitter is beneath my little frame here. But without any further ado, let's get into the coverage. So we kick things off with NXT Great American Bash, 1st of August 2023. We started the show off with the NXT Tag Title match. We had the family, Channing Stacks, Lorenzo, and the Don of NXT, Tony D'Angelo, taking on tag champions Gallus, Mark Coffey, and Wolfgang. The match basically came about when Stacks refused to snitch on Tony D and defeated Joe Coffey on the July 11th episode of NXT. Tony D'Angelo was locked up for suspicious circumstances, and Gallus attempted to convince Stacks to turn on the Don, but Stacks remained loyal to the family, becoming an underboss for the family. So the match itself was a classic story of bad guys taking on good guys, except the good guys are led by a guy who's spent time in prison and is the Don of a family with a sketchy history. Either way, the crowd was solidly behind Tony and Channing for this. So the match ends with Tony and Channing defeating Gallus after Bada Boom Bada Bing, which is a pop-up Coriolis, for the pinfall victory and new tag champs. I rated it 3 stars. It started slow and quiet, like in terms of crowd involvement. But the crowd picked up, and the action did as well to follow. And the ending was an added bonus. The bad guys were thwarted, and the family now have gold. Personally, I'm not sold that they're going to have a long title reign, but we'll see. Moving on. We go on to the next match of the night because again, Great American Bash is not a normal NXT kind of show, so they don't really do like match segment or segment match or whatever. It's normally match because it's one of the takeovers or special events, whatever you want to call them. So we move on to Roxanne Perez taking on Blair Davenport, the former Bea Priestley, from that Stardom or Brit Rest or whatever. Anyway, Roxanne Perez against Blair Davenport in a Weapons Wild match, which is just fancy terms for anything goes, hardcore, whatever. The match came about because Blair has been terrorizing the NXT Women's division, but specifically Roxanne, for the past few months, and Roxanne is sick of it. Being treated like she's some kind of delicate flower, to the point where she even sent a message to Blair by attacking her in a bodega, which is like a grocery store, a little shop. Basically emanating Austin Booker T from 2001, which is a fun little thing. But yeah, Blair wants to prove that Roxanne doesn't belong here. And Blair confronted Roxanne at a convention called DreamCon. I don't know what that is. And they had a brawl there as well. The match itself, Roxanne gets the win after hitting a pop rocks, her finisher, like a code red sort of thing, on steel chairs. I rated it 3 3/4 stars. This was a very fun match of weapons. Simple hill work from Blair, like beating on Roxanne in front of her family and chatting shit one, like when she could, did the job needed. And Roxanne showing some much needed intensity helped the match immensely. I honestly wouldn't have minded if the match went on an extra 5 minutes or so, but time constraints are the reason. It's the main reason I didn't rate it 4 stars or higher. So it just needed a bit more time. But yeah, very fun, very good. I'd recommend watching it. Moving on. We move on to the infamous now because it's a week past. But infamous match between Baron Corbin and the debuting Gable Steveson. The match came about because Gable was not sure if he wanted to stay with NXT WWE or go back to being an Olympic wrestler. Corbin then mocked him and said he should go back to the Olympics because he never fit in WWE. That led to Gable being like, you know what, I'm going to stay in WWE and do whatever I'm going to do. The match ends in a double countout. No one wins, including the crowd. If you wondering why I rated it, 0.5. 0.5 stars. This was such a bad match. It was so slow, so sloppy. And Baron tried. He did try. It's just hard. It really takes a certain kind of meh to get a crowd to cheer for the heel more than their supposed face in the match. Um, After the ref called for the bell, there's a lot of bullshit chants, which I thought was quite fitting. And there's general booing as well, still for Gable. Gable is not over here whatsoever. Like I said, this was a sloppy match, bad booking. Uh, Gable Stevenson is not Kurt Angle, simply put. Like even in '99, Kurt Angle, showed promise. Gable doesn't. I should point out every time I say Gable, I don't mean Chad Gable because Chad Gable's great. I mean Gable Stevenson. He's got a decent Bay to Bay suplex, but again, that's mainly on the guy taking the move. I think I'm not a wrestler. But that's about it. Um, I hope he continues to train and his skills because if he doesn't, he'll become WWE's next failure story, which is not hard to do in his case because he is tight. Moving on swiftly, we go backstage for an interview with Lyra Valkyria. She mentions her match with Rhea on NXT just the past week proves that she can go toe to toe with anyone. She then gets jumped by Daisy Jane, and they have a brawl backstage. Not much else really, yeah. Happens there, except while they're fighting, Rhea comes by with Dominic, and they walk past as they're being broken up, and Rhea says that's what she was looking for. Yeah, just a bit of nothing really. Moving on though to the next match of the night, which was for the NXT North American Championship. This is a really exciting one. Wesley, Mustafa Ali, and the champion, I'm saying this, Dominic Mysterio. The match doesn't really have any kind of particular build to it. It's mainly just Wesley wants his title back from Dominic, and Dominic wants to retain it. Meanwhile, Ali's added to it because of his rivalry with Wesley as well. So all three are here now to combat over the title. That's really about it. So Dominic retains after a frog splash on Wesley. I rated it 3.5 star. 3.5 stars. Sorry. It was a fun freeway. Dominic was barely involved in the match. It was all between Ali and Wes. Rhea was more involved in the match than Dominic was. And honestly, it made Dominic look better with him hiding behind her, being a cowardly, like a coward like shit heel. But yeah, Ali and Lee carried the match from an in-ring perspective. Towards the end of the match, it did showcase Lee a bit more like a Superman sort of character. He took a riptide through the announce table. He was hit over the head with the women's world title. He then took a 450 splash from Ali as well, and this didn't put him down. And then finally, the frog splash came in from Dominic after Rhea had pulled Ali out the ring. So here's his frog splash, and then that eventually does pin Wes for the 3 count. Like I said, this was a really fun match. Again, it's up there. I'd recommend it. It was fun. Not sure what you're gonna do now with Wes and Mustafa. Maybe they feud or they feud with Dominic again. I don't fully know, but we'll find out because NXT is coming up after this. We go backstage again. Trick Williams has had an interview. He calls Cap on Dragunov's comments on Trick Hayes' friendship because he's been putting it in doubt recently. Trick continues to sell and hype Carmelo, yada yada. You know how Trick does. He's the hype man. And then nothing else really happens. Moving on back to the matches, we go into the NXT Women's Championship match, which was contested in a submission match. Thea Hale takes on Tiffany Stratton. So we're here because Thea Hale won a Battle Royal to earn a chance to fight for the title at Gold Rush, where she then lost to Stratton because of outside interference. Hale wanted a rematch in the submission match, which was agreed to, with hesitation from Stratton. So now we're here. Tiffany retains after Andre Chase throws it in the towel during a Lion Tamer submission. I rated this 2.5 stars. It was decent enough to begin with, but it became quite clear that Tiffany was beginning to get gassed. Not sure that a submission match was the wisest call, given how early these two are in their careers. Thea was a lot better in this match than Tiffany did, but Tiffany. I don't think Tiffany got enough exposure to submission matches. There was something weird about it. I don't. It was a bit slower as well towards the end, and yeah, it was good when they called it off when it did. And yeah, the match went on a little too long as well. Just to add on to that, if they'd made it shorter, maybe I don't know, it might work better. I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's obviously it's the women's title match. It's the biggest match for the women on that card. Kind of fell flat. 2.5 stars. It's not that good. So we go backstage. Dragon Lee is confronted by Dominic and Rhea Ripley. Dominic claims he's better than his father. That's really about it. Dominic's still riding on the coattails of he's Ray's son. So we remain backstage, and we're seeing to the Schism, Joe Gacy, Ava Rain, and GYV because I can't remember their NXT names. Apparently there'll be an interrogation for the Schism next week because they need to figure out who the traitors are. That's basically what's there for that. And then we move on to the main event, which was for the NXT Championship between Ilya Dragunov and champion Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo retains after a diving leg drop onto Ilya for the win. Going into this match, it was going to be a fantastic one on paper, and that is why, after watching it, I rated it 4.75 stars. It was just shy of a 5 star. It was a match of the night, and very well could be a match of the year for NXT and maybe wrestling in general this year. The action, suspense, the near falls, and each one building to the desperation and willpower between the pair of them. The match itself even had a flukish ending, which protected Ilya as well. Ilya was going for like a torpedo Moscow off the stairs, and he hit it on Trick, but Trick was holding the title, so Ilya hit the title by accident, which made him groggy and which allowed him to get hit by Carmelo's leg drop. I do feel with the semi-clean win on Ilya that Ilya's time in NXT is coming to an end quite soonish, I imagine, and he'll be on his way to the main roster. I personally feel there's only one direction you can go with Ilya going forward, and that's putting him in Imperium. I know people say he's like the anti-Imperium guy or the anti-Gunter guy, but I don't know. It's something about the way he looks, where he's from. It's very WWE to put him with the other Europeans. Um, but either way, fantastic match, fantastic drama, fantastic. I'd recommend this match to anyone who likes wrestling. But yeah, that was NXT. Great American Bash. Very good show. Very good show. I'll say that it was very good. Like the women's title match was a bit of a letdown. Maybe don't make it a submission match or make it shorter. It was gonna be a submission match because neither of them, not females much, particularly mainly, but it just didn't really sit well. I guess how long it went. But yeah, like these two got like, they've got like good futures ahead of them. It's just maybe not in submission matches. But yeah, Good American Bash was a very good show, and yeah, here's to the next one. So now we're moving on to NXT, the weekly NXT show, from the 1st of August 2023. We kick things off in the parking lot, as we always do in NXT. It kicks off instantly with the family, the new NXT Tag Champions, Tony D'Angelo and Shane Lorenzo. They're pulling up to the parking lot when they're attacked by Gallus. That's about it. We then go to the ring. It's time for a match. Jesse Jane and Lyra Valkyria. Jane cuts off commentary without making her entrance, claims she'll finish what she started at the Great American Bash. Lyra then makes her entrance and then is attacked by JC on the ramp to begin things. Lyra wins this match after a splash from the top rope. I rated it 2.5 stars. A decent match. Neither woman really impressed me in this match particularly, and after the ad break it just went up and down in terms of pacing, and ultimately the right person won, but I feel this can lead to bigger things for Lyra. Specifically, maybe some sort of feud with Tiffany for the title. Maybe I don't know. I don't really know who else there is at this moment who can go for the title. So in my mind, Lyra it is. We go backstage. Carmelo Hayes is sitting with Trick Williams in the locker room, and this is a much needed segment. Trick says that he wants to go his own way, and because he's seen nothing more as Carmelo's sidekick. Carmelo gives his full support, and they part their ways. That said, it was really needed because Trick nailed this right on the spot. I assume many others don't see Trick as an independent person. I see him as the hype man, sidekick, side character, whatever, to Carmelo. So this split, while amicable between the pair of them, is also the best thing they can do with Trick. Because right now he's just riding on Carmelo's coattails. There's not much he's doing much really. Carmelo don't need him, and now both can prosper in their own ways. I wouldn't particularly be surprised if I saw Trick going after the end of the North American title. It makes sense, kind of. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. We go backstage to the medical room. We're shown Tony D'Angelo and Lorenzo being seen to by the medic. And Tony says that they want all of Gallus, all 3 of them. Lorenzo points out that there's only 2 of them, and Tony says he'll make a call to you-know-who. And then they go off. More on that later. We go back to the ring for a segment. Here's Rhea Ripley and the NXT North American Champion, Dominic Mysterio. They cut a promo, reminding people that Dominic remains the North American Champion and calling him better than everyone in the arena. They're cut off by Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee reprimands Dominic for calling himself the greatest luchador, when in reality it's Dominic's father, Rey Mysterio. There's a back and forth, a mention of Dominic's cones, until Dragon Lee requests a title match. against Dominic. And after some words from Rhea, Dominic agrees to it. He proclaims he's a fighting champion, and they'll fight next week. Rhea says that she'll be in Dominic's corner, and Dragon Lee surprises everyone by replying he also won't be alone. On the screen behind, on a little Titantron at the back, there appears Rey Mysterio. And he says he'll be there next week in the corner of someone he truly respects. So we're getting Rey on NXT, which will most likely lead to some sort of tag match where either Damien or Finn, which was the Judgment Day team with Dominic, against Lee and Rey Mysterio. So yeah, same old, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun. We go backstage again. This time we see Carmelo on the phone. He's cut off by Wesley, who's angry because he's been on a losing streak of sorts. Carmelo tries to talk down Wes, but this annoys Wes more. He says that he doesn't know what it's like to be him, and before Wes can continue, they're cut off by Noam Dar and Ora Mensah. Yeah, so they do a generic comment that Noam Dar isn't the NXT Heritage Cup champion, and then Mensah just slaps Wes in the face, and then we get a ball up brawl in the locker room. We remain backstage, but this time in a different place. We got a Thea Hale interview. Thea is here with Duke, Hudson, and Andre Chase from Chase U. Thea claims Andre didn't need to throw the towel in, but Andre disagrees. This agreement doesn't go on for long until Baron Corbin interferes. He wants their interview time slot and tells me to pack her bags because she's reached her peak, and that's it. Basically, all downhill from there. Chase inserts himself and challenges Baron, and Baron agrees to it basically, and Andre gets the cold shoulder from Thea. More on that later. We then move on back to the ring, where we have Eddie Thorpe taking on Dijak, the former Carl Fredericks. Eddie Thorpe, that is, not Dijak. Dijak wins after the Cyclone, which is like a spinning big boot, and pinfall. I rated 2 3/4 stars. It was alright. It didn't have much time for it. It was like maybe 4 minutes to get anywhere, but it was handled well. Dijak continues to run rampant, and honestly, he looks amazing. Thorpe, on the other hand, the former Carl Fredericks of the New Japan Dojo, seems like he's trying to find his place. I think with a few more matches and experience, he'll find it, but right now he's just a guy who can perform well in matches. Dijak getting pushed is quite interesting though, so maybe he's getting pushed for a match with Carmelo in the future. Who knows? We go backstage again. Tony D'Angelo's on the phone and settles a deal with someone. The family have got a tag partner for the match later. Backstage still, Dana Brooke is here watching a video from her kendo stick match with Cora Jade last week. She's sitting there with Kalani Jordan. They talk about Dana Brooke's mentality shift once she had hold of the kendo stick, and then she tells Kalani that she needs some aggression and to go out and call someone to find her killer instinct. Kalani thinks on this, and then we go to the next match. We now have a tag match between the 4 women who were part of the pre-show of Great American Bash, which I failed to mention. I didn't watch the pre-show match. That's why I didn't mention it. But we have Yulisa Leon and Valentina Feroz against Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez. Elektra and Lola pick up the win after spinning heel kick connects with Valentina. I rated 2 1/4 star. It was alright. There's not much to really comment on here. It was a short match like the one before it. It seemed like there was a match to help out the newer team of Elektra and Lola. It could be a one-off thing, but building new women's teams at NXT is not a bad way to go. With the everlasting talent pool in NXT as well, and a lack of choice on the main roster, it's certainly a direction to go in. We then go vignette or a TikTok or something, I don't know. Anyway, Tiffany Stratton is doing a TikTok post, a Get Ready With Me, where she speaks on Thea Hale, saying she pushed her to her limit. Next week she'll be at NXT to do something, really. Not sure to what. It could be a vibration. But we're not sure what that will be. That ends, and then we go back to the ring. Wesley and Carmelo Hayes team up to take on Metaphor, Noam Dar, and Ora Mensah. I rated 3 stars. Very fun tag match. Metaphor win after a super kick Nova roller combination on Wesley. It was a decent enough match. Nothing spectacular about it, but it seemed more like a story plot device to further that story, and more specifically, start setting up Wesley as the next challenger for Carmelo Hayes. Given his impressive reign with North American title, it wouldn't be surprising to see. I think higher up, I've taken notice of Wesley as well. I think there's something to that. Post match though, Hayes and Wesley argue, with Hayes trying to keep the peace, but Lee is inconsolable, and that ends that. We then get a vignette. Bron Breakker is here, and he talks about Von Wagner, mentioning the spear he hit on Wagner last week, and then talks about Wagner's father, one half of the Beverly brothers, I think it was, Bo or Blake, I think it is. And that Wagner is just like him, soft. The scar on Wagner's head will be nothing compared to how he'll look after Bron's done with him. Yeah, we're getting more Bron and Wagner. Cool. We go to the parking lot. We return to the dreaded parking lot, where Rhea and Dominic are walking, but they're confronted by Axiom, who they mistake for Dragon Lee. He corrects them before Mustafa Ali appears. Ali wants to talk, but keeps getting cut off by Axiom. Eventually, Rhea and Dominic just leaving Ali with Axiom, and then he berates Axiom minorly and then leaves. We go back to the ring. Baron Corbin against Andre Chase. By the way, Baron Corbin had to sit through that parking lot segment. So he made his entrance, and they aired the parking lot segment, and now we'll get into the match. Wrestling's very weird. I rated 2.5 stars. Baron Corbin wins after the end of days. This was alright for what it was. It was never going to be a 5-star masterpiece or anything like that. It was fine. It served to give Corbin some momentum, and also featured the story of Thea Hale, who is very much in a weird little like moody sort of strut. Still reeling from the Andre's throwing the towel as well. Thea even tried throwing a towel in this match as well, like to sort of replicate that and make Andre lose. But Baron catches it and throws it back at her. I personally, I'd love to see Chase win here, but losing makes more sense considering who he's facing and the story being told. And plus, Baron needs to build more momentum when he loses to Gable Stevenson. Metaphor are backstage. They are celebrating Noam and Oro's win over Wesley and Carmelo Hayes, but they're interrupted by Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate says he's been in Tibet on a meditation retreat, and that Noam Dar looks like he needs a new, fresh opponent. No hesitates, and Tyler accepts his challenge. Match confirmed for next week. Moving on. We go back to the ring. We have the Schism's interrogation. In the ring, we have members of the Schism: Joe Gacy, Ava Rain, and GIV. Joe talks about how insubordination is something that has to be eradicated and destroyed. They have a set of 6 people in hoodies and Schism masks, all stand on like a little podium thing. They get each one to remove their masks and they're removed from the ring. So you have person 1, person 2, they take the mask off, they're like, that's not you, leave. Person 3 takes off, like they turn their back and then they like take off their like, hoodie and everyone's like, carnival jacket, it's Ikemanjiro. Nice little comedy spot, but they're like, Jiro, what are you doing it? And then he just leaves. Then they get rid of the 4th person, and then they know who the remaining 2 people are. They just attack these 2 random people in hoodies because they believe they're the Creed brothers. But the Creed brothers appear on the Titantron. They've been on holiday in multiple green screen locations. They're not at all in Florida. But the guys that were attacked in the ring were just Fall Guys. So, not the Creed whatsoever. Gacy controls the situation with a dyad and commands his followers to find the Creeds and bring them back to NXT. It's cool, I guess, at the back, the Creeds. I was never the biggest fan of the Creeds, so it's alright. There we go. So now we move on to the main event of the night. Gallus taking on the family and a mystery partner. So out comes Gallus first, out comes Tony and Channing, and then out comes the mystery partner, Santos Escobar. And that's the little reunion for those two. I rated it 3 stars. The family and Santos win after a bada bing, bada boom. Like I said, it was a fun reunion of sorts for D'Angelo and Escobar, even though they weren't on the best of terms before. As well as allowing Escobar to get a bit of a boost before his match at SummerSlam as well. It was a fine match. It was a good way to end the show and to keep Gallus away from the tag titles for a little bit at least. Santos and D'Angelo shake hands to end the show. Also, we thought there's an ending vignette, which shows Ilya Dragunov declaring that he's not done with Trick Williams after his involvement in him losing to Carmelo at Great American Bash. He won't stop until Trick is entirely eliminated. So it seems that we're getting Ilya and Trick at some point as well, and Ilya's time in NXT is not done just yet. And that does end the show. So that is the end of NXT. Yeah, I mean, it's a weekly WWE show. There's always plenty of segments and stuff like that. The matches themselves, there wasn't anything bad, so that's something. But yeah, it was alright. That's something that will appear a lot for me, probably. That it's alright. Yeah. Now we move on to the AEW section of the review. With Rampage, 4th of August 2023. We start things off with the Hardys and Keith Lee against the Butcher and the Blade and Kip Sabian. The Hardys and Keith Lee win after a swanton bomb from Jeff onto Kip Sabian. 2 stars, I rated this. It was nothing to shout about. This is a very standard 6-man tag, ultimately served to get the highest momentum towards whatever they're being built towards. On a side note, Keith Lee needs to be doing more, like, as a singles guy. He's just coasting, like, in tag stuff. I don't know what he's doing, really. But I guess we'll see. Moving on. We get a vignette. The Kingdom are here. Well, on the screen. Matt Taven and Mike Kanellis took over a video package recounting the Kingdom's glory days in Ring of Honor and how they were always there for Adam Cole. Even recounting that Adam was at Mike's wedding. The shots keep going back and forth between the Kingdom's glory days and Adam Cole with MJF. It seems like there's some sort of connection that will probably lead to a tag match or Roderick Strong involvement or something. I don't know, but I like the Kingdom when Cole's part of it. I was a fan of those in Ring of Honor. Right now they kind of feel like filler, which could probably apply to most Rampage events, regardless. We stay backstage. Young Bucks are backstage. They say they're going to be re-entering the tag scene, so getting away from the trio stuff and doing more tag stuff. They're then interrupted by the Hardys. They're hanging around, coming to the backstage shop, and then they challenge the Bucks. There's some quips between them because they're like both brotherly tag teams. And the match is then made for Dynamite. That's cool, I guess. The match probably won't do a lot of anything for anyone other than like the nostalgia pops and stuff like that. But probably also have outside interference probably as well. Moving on, we have a match between Anna Jay AS and Sky Blue. Anna Jay wins with the Queenslayer submission. 2.25 stars. Only a smidge better than the opening 6-man tag. Again, nothing to shout about, but it was a decent enough match between these two. Matt Menard and Angela Parker continue to be the highlights of any JAS match. And a win that caught me off guard with Anna locking in the submission for the win. It makes sense, I guess, with the whole Jericho, JAS, Callis stuff going on right now. But I'm not too surprised. I just thought that this was Sky's match to win. So I'm happy to be proven wrong. Moving on. We go backstage with an interview with Chris Statlander. Chris is talking about her upcoming match on Collision with Mercedes Martinez. But while she's doing it, she's doing squats with Renee Paquette on her shoulders. So Renee is literally on Chris's shoulders interviewing her. Chris basically tells Mercedes to get ready because Mama's coming home. I'm sure this took a couple of takes to get correct on camera because how even look at the straight face is beyond me. We go backstage. Well, kind of backstage. It's more like a parking lot. Tony Schiavone is there with Paul White. They're in the parking lot where the main event of tonight's show will be taking place. They mention that Pac has not been medically cleared, and that the Lucha Bros are calling out the winners from this match for a match on Dynamite. That's it. We then go back to the ring. The Mogul Embassy are here, and they're taking on Logan Cruz and Tyshawn Perez. Jobbers. So Mogul Embassy are represented here by Swerve Strickland and AR Fox. The Embassy win after AR Fox hits a 450 splash on one of the jobbers. I didn't catch which one it was. 1 star. It was lucky to even get that. Swerve and AR look good in this match, and that's the only reason why they got a star. It was the main goal of the match to get these to look good, to make the Mogul Embassy look good. The jobbers did the job, and the winners won. Not much else to say, really. Moving on. Vignettes now. We head to QTV, where they have a segment where they talk, and Solo stole someone's hat. Not Hager's though, importantly. But a hat that turns Hardy Cameron Australian when she wears it. Cool. QT comes in, talking about how they need to feud with newer people. Then a vignette within a vignette airs where Johnny TV or Nitro, John Morrison, for those who aren't aware of Johnny TV, he comes in and issues an open challenge to anyone who's been on TV. Okay. We head backstage again. Big Bill and Brian Cage are here, and they talk about the upcoming match on Collision against FTR, and say that they'll win. They're a decent enough team, and finding their mojo, the promo Prince Nana actually helped them more than hindered them. Probably helped that it was short one too. It felt like an old school sort of promo as well, like old school energy as well. It was fun. Okay, pardon me. Right, now we move on. We move on to the last segment of the show. It's time for the main event. We're not doing that again. It's the best friends. Chuck Taylor and Trent Barretta taking on the Blackpool Combat Club. John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. The BCC win after Moxley curb stomps Trent's head into a windshield for the free. I want to preface this with a comment. I'm not usually a fan of hardcore or deathmatch related sort of matches. The occasional one's fine, but I'm generally just not a fan of them. But I sat down to watch this one, and my rating for this is 3.25 stars. It was a fun, chaotic match with plenty of violence and plenty of objects being used, including a car spoiler, the car door, and even a street side. They usually refer to a car crash on TV as a negative thing, but I think this match is proof that a car crash can be positive, despite the rest of the show being pretty meh. So fair news to the Blackpool Combat Club and to Best Friends. And I'm sure the other guys rating for us will enjoy reviewing BCC against the Lucha Bros on Dynamite. But yeah, that brings an end to HCW Show Squared. I've been Dan, DP, D to the Breezy. If you like what you're seeing, what you're hearing, then please give us a follow above on any of the platforms. I don't know why I'm doing this, like that, whatever. And of course, if you like what I'm doing, personally, then my Twitter's down there to follow as well. But yeah, other than that, I must bid you adieu. This is the end of the show. You can go now. Leave. You understand me? You can go now. Go.